Hey everyone, this is Lance from Cinematic Galaxy, and this is my review of the 5th Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This film basically covers all the confusion and pandemonium in the wizarding world now that Voldemort has returned. You just have all sorts of different sides here, people who believe Voldemort returned and people who don't want to believe it, which is a lot of people. The Ministry's basically painted Harry and Dumbledore out to be liars, and it's just absolutely crazy, and it's actually really reflective of the world we live in today. Every night, Harry's having nightmares about the night Voldemort returned, about Cedric's death, and to make matters worse, during the summer, 2 Dementors show up in Little Whinging and attack Harry and his cousin Dudley. And Harry isn't allowed to use magic outside of Hogwarts because he's underage, but he has to cast Patronus to defeat these Dementors, so as a result, he's expelled from school, and he has to go to this hearing to clear things up. I'm not really going to explain a lot more about the plot. A lot of people consider this to be one of their lesser favorite Harry Potter films, including critics. I believe this film has like a 78 on RottenTomatoes.com, and that's the lowest rating for any Harry Potter film. I find that pretty funny, though, because it's actually one of my favorite Harry Potter films. In fact, it's my 3rd favorite Harry Potter film. This is the first Harry Potter film that David Yates directed, and as most of you know, I'm sure, David Yates directed the rest of the films in the series. And what a lot of people might not know is this is actually his first big theatrical movie. He had never directed a film on the scale before. Before this, he had directed mostly a bunch of kind of small budget TV movies, basically. He brings a certain quietness and intensity to this film that really none of the previous films have. The only one I'd say might have it is Prisoner of Azkaban, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. In a lot of ways, this film reminds me of Prisoner of Azkaban. Just the kind of the look of it, for one. It has that kind of sort of bluish tint to it that works really well in the film. And yeah, this one just is really, really intense. It just, I guess it's like a feeling of foreboding dread. This film has so many great new additions to the cast. For one, you have Luna Lovegood, played by Alvana Lynch in this film, and she is absolutely 100% perfect. She is actually exactly how I pictured Luna, both in how she looks and in how she talks and acts. I mean, she could not have been more perfectly cast for this role. Luna Lovegood is easily one of my favorite characters from the book. I just love how, for one, I love her name, Luna Lovegood. It's just so, I love saying that. And then she's just one of these characters that, she's such an oddball, and she's so eccentric and kind of otherworldly, and she just has this weird voice and whatnot. But at the same time, she has this outlook on the world that, despite how weird she might seem out of touch in some ways, but in a lot of ways, she's really more in touch with the world than other normal people might be, and that's what I really love about her character. Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix is just absolutely perfect. She completely owns this role, and honestly, I was not expecting anything like that. She probably surpassed my expectations, and that says a lot, because Bellatrix, as much as you might hate her, I can't help but sort of like her at the same time, and a lot of that has to do with Helena Bonham Carter's portrayal, though. I even liked her when I read the book in a weird way. I don't know. But I guess I'm just kind of weird like that. Natalia Tinna, I think that's how you say it. She plays the character Tonks in this film. And while she doesn't really have a lot to do, they kind of cut her role down a little bit from the book. She's still very good, and I think she makes a good impression in her role. Also in this film, you have David Thewlis returning from Prisoner of Azkaban as Lupin, and Gary Oldman returning as Sirius Black as well. And both of them are excellent as always, and it's great to see Lupin again, and great to see Sirius. Both of them are some of my favorite characters from the books. And Gary Oldman is just pitch perfect as Sirius once again. He and Daniel Radcliffe have excellent chemistry in this film. Which leads me to Daniel Radcliffe's performance as Harry in this film. Daniel Radcliffe, man, he is so great in this film. I cannot even express that enough. I remember seeing Order of the Phoenix for the first time. I was kind of hearing a lot of hype about his performance, and boy, he really did deliver in this film. I've always liked him as Harry Potter, but you know, his performances in the previous films always had maybe some tiny little flaw to him. But in Order of the Phoenix, he is absolutely perfect. It's so great and so impressive as well, because this is perhaps the most challenging role thus far that he's had. The most challenging has probably been to play Harry Potter, because Harry has so much emotional baggage in this film. Rupert Grint is once again great as Ron Weasley, and interesting to note, this is probably the least comedic out of all of Rupert Grint's roles as Ron, except for perhaps the final film, Deathly Hallows. But thus far, this is definitely Ron's least comedic role, and I like that because you kind of get to see more of the loyal friend side of Ron. I mean, not that you didn't see it with the previous films, but in the previous films, Ron was always a bit of a goofball and, you know, kind of the buffoon a little bit. And I like the fact that you don't really see a lot of that in this film. You see the Ron that's sticking right by Harry, thick and thin. And it's just fantastic. Rupert Grint does a great job once again. And Emma Watson is really great as well in this film. They both really do a great job of showing their concern for Harry. Ralph Fiennes returns as Voldemort for this film, and I must say he is equally as chilling, if not more chilling, in this film. You don't really see him a whole lot, but even when he's not on screen, you feel his presence, because Harry's always having nightmares in this film that center around Voldemort. Basically, Voldemort is trying to get into Harry's mind, and it's just, you know, so even when Voldemort's not on screen, you feel him because he's bothering Harry in his sleep. I know that sounds really wrong. Yeah, but Ralph Fiennes is terrific in this film. And to everyone who watched my previous review for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, you know how I felt about Michael Gambon's performance, but I can very happily say here that none of the problems that I had with him in Goblet of Fire are present in this film. Michael Gambon does a great job in this film, and sure, at times he might seem a little bit gruff. Like, there's one scene where he seems a little bit grumpy, but I can understand it and I can accept it, because Dumbledore's character he goes through a lot of stress in this film, and he basically ignores Harry throughout almost the entire story, and there's a reason for that, as you find out later. And so I don't really mind that, but I think Michael Gambon does a terrific job in this film. He doesn't yell or anything like he did in Goblet of Fire, and he's just so much better. And another thing I just love about him is you really get you really see how much he cares for Harry in this film. You see how much he loves him, and how much of a mentor and sort of like a grandfatherly figure he really is for Harry. And I'll get more into that later.